Welcome to another episode of TeeVo and the Beard.
I know you can't see us, but I'm TeeVo, and that's the beard.
And what are we going to talk about today, TeeVo?
Well, I thought we'd do just another icebreaker, just to, kind of ease into this whole new thing we're doing. But today, I was thinking we call it a deep icebreaker.
Okay.
Yeah, deep as
going
in...
to the deep ice.
Yes, the deep ice. We're going to the deep end.
I brought my water wings. That should be all right.
You know, I was thinking this week. I was watching Scooby-Doo, The Reluctant Werewolf. You ever see that cartoon?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Awesome cartoon.
Yeah, very.
And I can't tell you the last time I watched it because I watched it so many times when I was a kid. It's just kind of stored up in here, so I can kind of watch it in my head,
right?
Without actually physically watching it. But
I do that with every episode of Firefly.
That's fantastic. That's how you should do it.
Yeah.
And there's enough that there's so little that you really can't do that.
It doesn't take up much memory.
It's not like saying, I did that with The Simpsons.
Oh no.
You know?
My brain would explode.
Actually, I would want to meet that person. I don't really watch The Simpsons. I just want to see the person that could literally watch every episode of Simpsons in their head.
Yeah, if you're out there, contact us.
But nonetheless, so I was watching it because I finally bought a DVD copy of it. Mm-hmm. And man, it took me back. Yeah. Instantly. Like to my mom's house when I was 4, watching it right in front of the TV. VHS, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
And just when the credits rolled, I had just an overwhelming sense of nostalgia. So that's what the deep icebreaker is. Let's talk about nostalgia.
All right.
So what's something that takes you back?
Well, recently,
media,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Not like the smell of,
I love apple pie in the morning. Actually, that would sound good about right now. Now, recently I've started rewatching Alf.
How come?
Because Alf is awesome.
I'm just, I mean, like I said, Reluctant Werewolf's awesome, but, I only watched it recently just because, bought copies.
And some of our listeners, I realize, are going to be more familiar with Scooby-Doo than they are with Alf.
I don't know. I mean...
Well, so I was going to explain it.
Alf was... Okay, yeah, we'll explain it.
Yeah.
Or you'll explain it. You're watching it.
I'll give the very brief synopsis. Alf is ALF, stands for Alien Life Form, and it's about an alien that crashes to Earth and ends up living with this family. And, it's a comedy. Came out in 1986, even though watching it, like you said, it kind of takes you back, so I don't feel like I'm watching something 30 years old. Sure, the fashion is definitely in the 80s. The way the house is decorated is definitely in the 80s. But the stuff they talk about and the way the comedy is done and all that is still very relevant to right now. And I think that's one thing that helps something become nostalgic. It's still relatable. I think Alf still holds up, which I'm sure you would say the same about Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf there, because not everything Scooby-Doo holds up. Like if you watch some of the original series,
even if you watch the first live action movies, they don't hold up.
No,
and Reluctant Werewolf was made 20 years before that.
Right.
But
one thing that's fun, at least for me as a dad, with watching Alf is now I'm getting to introduce my daughter to it, and I would have been a little older than her, about 3 years older than her when I first watched it, so it's a nice experience. I get to relive my childhood, plus introduce a new generation to Alf.
See, that's the beauty of kids, I think. Mm-hmm. I speak mostly because I was a young kid.
I think most of our listeners were young kids.
I was a young kid, not too long ago. I don't think not too long ago, but I remember watching Nick at Night. Mm-hmm. And it was totally okay. It was just awesome. Like, it's easier, I think, to introduce kids to, anything.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you get older, you develop your own taste, which is good.
Yeah, it's fine.
You should. You can't like everything.
Yeah, I'm not saying my daughter's still going to love Alf. When I was young, I had the toys. I went as Alf a couple times for Halloween. Had the actual licensed costume.
And for listeners who still don't know who Alf is, it was a furry...
Oh yeah, very furry.
Alien. Yeah. Spoke English.
That is one thing I didn't understand as a kid, that looking at it now, for somebody who just crash landed to Earth, he knows a lot about Earth. And a lot of the references.
Not just, knowing English, like sarcastic, had Earth sense of humor.
Exactly, yeah.
But it was the 80s. I mean,
right, yeah. They didn't want to have to explain too much in there. Yeah, I'm used to aliens being able to speak English. That's the default language, it seems. But, yeah, I don't expect my daughter to want all the toys and stuff when she gets older, but she's enjoying it now, and she calls it that little. When we played it last night, she goes, "Is this the one with the alien?" And I was like, "Yep, that's exactly the one."
Which is really, which you have to specify now.
Oh yeah,
as far as sci-fi has evolved, is that the one with the alien? You're gonna have to be little, because back in the 80s,
yeah.
Hey, what's on tonight? That show with the alien. Oh, it must be Alf.
Either that or Ewoks get a show. Because I'm sure that's what most people think when they think short furry alien. It's like Ewoks.
Are we watching reruns of Lost in Space?
Right. But you bring up Nick at Night. That's the funny thing about me and nostalgia is I can watch something like Get Smart, Batman, or the Monkees, stuff that came before I was even a glimmer in my mom's eye.
Yeah.
And I will still watch reruns of Batman now and remember being little watching it.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. How like stuff can take you just to that place,
right? Like
that. I mean, same thing with me and Nick at Night. I remember, watching I Love Lucy with my mom,
right?
And Lucille Ball died before I was born.
Yeah.
So not to say like I grew up with the live version, but I feel like I still grew up. I mean, I watched it every night,
mm-hmm.
and it held up to me. I thought it was funny.
I never cared for Lucy, but I definitely understand the appeal of it. It's just something that never resonated with me.
Yeah, well, for me, physical comedy was a big deal to me when I was a kid. So, I mean, Lucille Ball was pretty much comedy.
The queen of it. I mean, would definitely give her that.
That's why I'm such a huge fan of like guys like Jim Carrey. Mm-hmm. Growing up, they were, just how you can make someone laugh and go there.
Right.
So I thought that was cool. But, not just I Love Lucy. Like, we watched Three's Company.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't get half the jokes.
Yeah. Watching that now is amazing.
Actually, I probably didn't get anything. The only thing I probably got, again, physical comedy, when John Ritter would trip and fall. Ah!
Yeah. It's like, that's funny.
That's funny. Yeah. So naturally, it's a funny show.
But he's pretending to be gay. Oh, that's another level now.
Yes. But even then, I still didn't really understand that.
I'm talking about watching it now. Yeah.
Well, now it's like, wow, they're talking about a lot of things.
Yeah.
But just shows like that, like Nick at Night. Mm-hmm. Is Nick at Night still even on?
I honestly don't know.
Well, the point is...
But even if it is, I'm sure it's showing things like Fresh Prince and stuff from the 90s now.
Even if it is, it's not showing these shows. So,
right.
I
think it's showing a lot of Full House. Is basically what it does.
Which
I'm not opposed to.
It takes me to a different point in my childhood.
Right.
So nothing against Full House.
Yeah.
Hence why I love Fuller House. I watched Fuller House for one day. But that's besides the point. But yeah, they don't show those shows. If Nick at Night still exists, then it shows those shows. So when I watch it, it's most likely on YouTube now.
Yeah.
But it's still, I'm watching it on a computer screen. It still takes me to my bedroom. Mm-hmm. An old tube TV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was one thing with Alf that me and my wife got a laugh out of. But, of course, my daughter has no concept while we were laughing. It was something simple. Alf set a drink on top of a TV. And I just thought that was hilarious looking back at it now. The fact that you could sit something on top of a television.
Back then, you could sit many things.
Many things, yeah. In fact, a lot of people would design their house just to have things sitting on top.
I remember that. And the fancy ones, you could sit a lot.
Oh, well, my grandmother had one of those big box type TVs that you had to sit on the floor. And she used it basically as another table.
Remember the entertainment units where you could put stuff over the TV and on top of the TV?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Those were the good times.
Now you have to get the thing to over a TV.
Yeah.
Or build some kind of shelf by your TV.
Or have very small collectibles that you...
Yes. Even now with certain collectibles, they can't even sit.
Yeah, that's true. If you get like one of those curved TVs or something, you can maybe sit like a piece of paper on top.
But, back then, remember VCRs? That's where it went sometimes, on top of the TV.
Right, yeah.
And then for a while, DVD players.
Right, yeah.
But not anymore.
No.
But, oh well. But that's still that. There's a lot of other things. Just little things. When talking about Full House, it's just amazing how revivals now, they're playing on our sense of nostalgia.
Michael Bay's made a career out of it.
And by God... with kind of the exception of Michael Bay and a few others, but by God, it's working. Mm-hmm. Well, I think the ones that are hit are the people that were involved. And
like Fuller House.
Fuller House.
Yeah.
And I didn't personally watch Gilmore Girls. Mm. Maybe a couple episodes here and there, but I think I watched like a random episode, and that's the kind of show you cannot just watch a random episode.
Right now.
But the fact that they're coming back
mm-hmm.
with the same people,
right.
I mean, it's not going to hit me personally, but I bet it's going to hit a lot of people.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so Fuller House, and I think what else came back? For some people, Girl Meets World.
Yeah.
Not the same, but I heard some people. It's like it's still nice to see the same person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the other podcasts I listen to, The More You Nerd, one of the hosts on there named Miles, he's very much into Gilmore Girls, Boy Meets World, Girl Meets World, and all that, and I'm sure he'd be right on board with our analysis there. But on the flip side of that,
Michael Bay.
Well, yeah. Now, I was just thinking, with you personally, have you watched something recently that you thought you'd feel nostalgic for, and then you watch it and it kind of ruins the nostalgia for you? And not, maybe ruin's too hard of a word. For me personally, I'm thinking I rewatched the first season of Power Rangers. Okay. Like the first Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Okay. And it's the acting, the way the fights are choreographed and all that, it is definitely not what I remembered watching as a 15-year-old kid sitting in front of the TV. Because as an adult, of course, you pick up on more nuances and more things going on that you didn't before.
I might have to... Actually, no. Recently, and it's totally weird, but I just remember enjoying it so much more as a kid. Mm. But I watched a couple episodes of Animaniacs on Netflix, and I didn't enjoy it as much. I mean, it was still fun to watch, but I just remember, after school, let's go watch Animaniacs, and turn on a couple episodes, and just thought, it's not the same.
Yeah.
Not in like it ruined it, just kind of...
Yeah, after I said ruined, I realized that was probably too hard of a...
Well, but there are some, believe me, there are some that ruin it. But, it just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
I think I think most revivals now, if they're, involving the same people, doing a good job, like off the top of my head, Dragon Ball Super.
Okay.
It's not the exact same team, but it's, made with a lot of the original. Mm-hmm. And they haven't made it in English, so I'm having to bootleg it off of YouTube. But I still get that sense of nostalgia. Mm-hmm. Like I'm going home watching Toonami,
right?
After school. But as far as like things
for
that haven't
the kids who don't know, Toonami is how we used to have to get anime before Netflix and Hulu.
Yes. But yeah, Animaniacs is one that kind of just didn't feel the same.
Okay.
I might have to give Power Rangers a shot. Maybe. Yeah. Well, since there's a new movie coming out, maybe I want to just catch up and see if they're going to pick up on a few things. But I don't know. I think
I'm hoping that there's so much of the bad humor in that they do reference, at least in the new movie. They don't have to, do anything meta really with it, but just something.
Yeah, I hope they don't do meta stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think I read somewhere that they were going to do like how the Dark Knight was to Batman, and half of me is like, cool. Mm-hmm. And the other half's like, but don't forget, this is still Power Rangers.
Right. It's still based on a kid's franchise.
Yeah. And you have kids fighting evil.
Right.
Let's just, put it in perspective
It's
here.
teenagers with attitude.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not Batman.
Exactly. So like I said, half's like, okay, if you're just going in like style and tone, sure, but like content, no.
Yeah, it does not need to go that dark. It's like we don't have to find somewhere between Marvel and DC to put it.
Going on to sense of nostalgia, you mentioned a little bit with Michael Bay. Well, what are your thoughts when they reboot stuff like that, like with Michael Bay and Transformers, or make a new adaptation like with Power Rangers? Now, what's your thoughts?
Well, a lot of it really is. It seems to be very polarized. Either it goes very well, or it goes very poorly. And I think the ones that go. Normally the ones that go very poorly, we want to say, okay, well, they were just using the title, like Transformers.
Right.
They were using a well-known name to make a movie that had nothing to really do with the franchise itself. Which I think is true, but then they just keep 1, 2, 3, 4. Didn't they stop at 4?
There's one. There's another. There's another one coming out.
And I hate to say John Goodman's in one of those, isn't he?
Well, at least he was
a voice. Yeah. So we don't have to hit him too hard on that.
We don't have to ban someone for voice.
Yeah. But I'm using Transformers as like the ultimate, like in the bad category. Mm-hmm. We can go a little less worse than that and look at like Ninja Turtles, which I know Michael Bay didn't direct, but he does have his name plastered all over, and it does have explosions in it, so it's obviously him. That one,
I've yet to see both.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second one yet. I wasn't even sure if it was released yet, but the first one, when I saw it, I might give it a second chance. I might do it for an episode of Second Chance Theater.
Nice.
But when I first saw it, I went in with pure nostalgic expectations of my late 80s Ninja Turtles cartoon. And that was the worst thing to do, because that made it a horrible experience, a horrible movie.
You know, once I saw, and again, just saying out of pure, I have never seen this movie, mm-hmm. but, you know, once I saw the trailer for the first one, mm-hmm. any sense of 80s Turtles nostalgia out the window.
Yeah.
You know? And then, you know, I will give it a watch, but, you know, I would go in knowing that this is not the Turtles I grew up with.
Right.
Not even the second iteration of Turtles I grew up with, because Turtles has gone through some iterations. Like, yeah. You know, there's the original comic book. You know, then there's the 80s cartoons, mm-hmm. and then there's the 90s movies. And if you remember, you know, Turtles Next Generation, where they had the female turtle.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
That there was a TV movie-esque. It was supposed to be a sequel to the trilogy.
Yeah.
And then they tried to make a TV show. It didn't work, obviously.
I almost forgot about her, because she had, like, light blue.
Venus de Milo.
Yeah.
And she had, like, energy ball power things. I don't remember. I just remember.
And even as a, I forgot how old I was when that came out, but even as a younger person than I am now, I thought it was weird that they gave a turtle boobs.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, we know she's a female. She's got the voice. I mean, they've made her skinnier than the other ones. They didn't have to keep going.
And on the same note, I remember the first time I rented that movie, mm-hmm. and I'm thinking, well, duh, it's gonna be awesome.
Right?
It's
yeah,
turtles.
It's turtles.
And you know how, like, when you're a kid, you can't criticize a movie like how you do when you're older,
right?
But you just know inside you it's bad.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong. Yeah. But you at least try to think of, well, maybe, you know, maybe it's not that.
I'm a kid. What do I know?
Yeah. Same feeling I had for Ninja Turtles, the Next Generation.
Yeah.
I just remember watching it going, okay, well, you know, because I think they use the same subway, you know, set, you know, for the second and third one, you know, right, when they went underground, found the new base. So it was, you know, in my head, it's a direct sequel mm-hmm. to those movies. They're just older.
Right.
It's like, okay, cool. And then, you know, they introduced the girl turtle, and yeah, she had boobs. And just remember, okay, it's cool.
Yeah.
But it's not great, but oh, no, who cares?
And of course, when you're young, you have no concept of what direct-to-video means. You're like, oh, that just means I get to see it sooner.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exciting. And Disney has like a ton of direct-to.
Exactly. Which some of them are good.
Right, yeah.
But there are some that, you know, fall
I enjoyed all the Aladdin movies.
Yeah.
You know.
There's some that fall under the cliche of, yeah.
Yeah, I see why that came, you know.
But yeah, there was that one, and then remember the 2003 animated series of Turtles?
Yeah.
I like that one. I mean, it was different from the 80s one.
Right.
But I still enjoyed the interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I saw the new Turtles trailer, I was thinking, okay, this looks nothing like either of those.
Right.
And I should probably know that. And then I saw a preview, maybe half an episode Nickelodeon's Turtles right now.
Yeah.
I was like, yep, this not the Turtles I grew up with.
Yeah. In my defense, I saw it on my brother's copy of the DVD, so I didn't actually put money into it or anything.
I think Power Rangers is a little different, so I think the movie coming out will be a test to whether they're going to play with the nostalgia of people who watched it when it came out. Mm-hmm. And by that, I mean the American kids who watched the...
Right, yeah. Yeah.
When it came out later than the actual version. Or are they going to, you know, spin it in a different way?
Right.
Which, you know, either way could go awesome or horribly wrong.
Yeah. But, I mean, the cast is already looking real good.
Well, you know, I, for one, am glad they are not using big names as the Rangers.
Right.
You know, I like that the biggest names, you know, is Elizabeth Banks for Rita and Bryan Cranston being Zordon.
Right.
You know, it's good that they're trying to give a new generation of actors a chance, and you know,
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. Do you remember the Blue Ranger's name on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
David Yost?
No, the character's name.
Oh, Billy Cranston.
Right. So you know about the connection between Cranston and Cranston?
Yep.
Okay. Not everybody knows that, so.
And it's cool, and I thought it was cool.
It's a nice circle back around,
exactly.
around for Power Rangers there.
And for those who don't even know, Bryan Cranston was a voice of a bad guy on the original.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool that he ascended from being the lowly bad guy, now he's Zordon.
Yeah, he's one of those that before Breaking Bad, he was that guy, but now he's actually, people are looking back and rewatching things.
I love Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
You know,
and Seinfeld, stuff like that.
He was on King of Queens, Seinfeld. I mean, let's not forget, he did a lot of episodes of Malcolm in the Middle.
A vast majority of them,
yeah. So it's cool that he's, you know, being able to be not just that guy who comes in and be funny for a few episodes and leaves.
Right.
He's actually... But then again, I remember in 2006 when he was in Little Miss Sunshine.
Right.
Not a funny role.
No.
I just remember going, hey, Bryan Cranston, what are you doing in this mellow drama? And you're not being funny.
Say something funny, funny man.
Which now the norm has flipped on him. It's like, what? You're being funny?
Right.
I thought you're, you know...
Go watch an episode of Malcolm in the Middle. You'll get it.
Yeah. Go watch a lot of episodes of Malcolm in the Middle.
Because you can't watch just one.
Yes.
Yeah, that one I've not recently rewatched. I'm not sure if that one would fit into the nostalgia setting yet.
Malcolm in the Middle?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the year cutoff point is.
But, yeah, good point. But yeah, with Power Rangers, it's just going to be... It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But... I mean, you could say that they are so many different iterations, but they were still in a continuous, like, tried to be a continuous narrative with the reboots of different types of Rangers.
Yeah.
Like, there's not been, like, a just brand new reboot.
Right.
Like, they've called certain ones reboots, but they tie it to an old one.
Yeah.
So it defeats the purpose.
There'll be something, you know, Tommy will be in there or something will happen.
So the movie is like a straight, you know, new look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another thing that kind of fits in that same genre is Star Trek.
Okay.
Star Trek has had the multiple iterations. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have maybe as strong of a through line as Power Rangers, but it is there. You can't.
I
there's chronological.
I think Star Trek's a little stronger.
Well, I mean, it depends on who you ask, really. Where Power Rangers is kind of established.
That's a nerd debate. I would love to watch Power Rangers versus Star Trek.
Yeah, that needs to happen.
It's always the classic, Star Wars versus Star Trek.
Right.
We need a Power Rangers versus Star Trek.
Yeah. But
make that happen. Somebody make that happen.
Find us on Facebook. Send us a message. Let's get this.
Make that happen.
Yeah. Let's make that a special episode and have some special guests in here. But Star Trek's one of those that has had the reboot with the newest movies.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying anything about Beyond yet because it's not out. Haven't seen it. The previews are not impressing me, but
really,
how
so?
Because it looks like a sci-fi action movie. It doesn't look like a Star Trek movie.
I'll give you that.
And then in the newest previews, we have Rihanna singing, and it's like, I'm still going to see you because you still.
Well, you have to.
It's got Star Trek attached to it.
Anton.
Yeah.
You know. R.I.P. Anton.
Exactly. So I know I'm going to see it, but I enjoyed the 2009 one, and I enjoyed Into Darkness, even though there needed to be a colon after Star Trek, so it's not just Star Trek Into Darkness. But that's one where they took existing material, the existing characters and all that, and went in a different route with it, but still referenced the original stuff. And I did think they did a great job with that. And I mean, it's not perfect by any means, even...
Well, you know, for me, and I'm speaking from a clear, I was not really into Star Trek growing up. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I love Abrams' Star Trek just because it gave a new look at it.
Right, yeah.
And I think that's what it really needed. You know, you have a lot of people that are dedicated, like you, to, you know, what it was. But, you know, sometimes you got to, you know, widen the scope a little bit for more people.
And that's how you get new fans and stuff like that. Because eventually, you know, me and all the other old Star Trek fans are going to die off.
Yes.
And if we die off and there's not another generation watching something, the franchise dies. Yeah.
Well, and like you said, it did a good job tying in because, you know, spoilers. the first one, obviously, you're led to believe, okay, it's a new iteration, it's new everything, it's reboot, new everything, and all of a sudden, Leonard Nimoy as Spock, but we have a Spock. Okay, I like this.
Yeah.
Even as a non-Star Trek fan, I just thought it was awesome.
Yeah, because I don't care what any of the critics say. I think they did that in an excellent way, and it was not confounded or anything like that. And within the Star Wars universe, it made perfect sense how they did it. Yeah, and like the people who try to compare it to, well, in real life, and this happened, it wouldn't work. Well, duh.
Yeah. Sometimes when I see people really dissect science fiction movies, like even Marvel movies, like you do realize we're watching a Norse god fight people. I think can we just throw realism out the window for 2 hours? And there's a man that just turned to a giant green monster,
right?
And then
if I had a Hulk busting suit, I would not be fighting the Hulk like that.
Exactly. It's like, can we just throw that out the window? But I like Abrams movies. I'm excited for Beyond. But for me, again, not a Star Trek person growing up, I like that it's action. It's a sci-fi action movie. That's just me.
Yeah.
Because I think that's... I think I told you this once before. My cousin, I don't know why, but dragged me to see Star Trek Insurrection.
Okay.
Had fun.
Yeah. It is a fun movie.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But I just remember being somewhat bored at certain points. When the excitement kicked up, I was obviously engaged, but I was still relatively bored through it. But, I had never seen an episode of Next Generation. I had no idea who any of these people were, which is why I was like, why did you bring me?
Right.
Why am I here? I had no idea who the bad guys, good guys were at all.
You and a bunch of girlfriends were all saying the same thing in the theater.
Exactly.
Like, what am I doing?
What am I doing here? It was nicer for Abrams movies to kind of start over and, introduce these characters.
Yeah.
And then give something more visually appealing.
Yeah.
So that's all I'll say for that.
One thing that helps me as a Star Trek fan, especially with the movies, is of the dozen or so movies, they're not all good.
Yes.
So I already go in expecting it's either going to be a fun movie or it's going to be a good movie that's also fun. It's going to fit in one of those two categories. And so because of the previews, I'm going to go in expecting a fun sci-fi action movie. And then if I leave and it happened to also have been an excellent Star Trek movie,
all the better.
All the better, yeah. But I don't have my hopes as high as like when I saw Turtles. Oh. And that's what hurt. That's what hurt my review on Turtles when I saw it, is because my expectations were like way up there. It's like, you've got Splinter, you've got the 4 Turtles, you've got Shredder, and you've ruined them all.
Now, I heard the new one plays more on fan service, but still, it's...
Which can go the wrong way also if it goes too far.
I think that's... This is a topic for a different one, but X-Men Apocalypse.
Okay.
Did a lot of fan service. Didn't 100% enjoy it, though.
I heard that was one that was a good movie. It was a fun movie.
It was a fun movie, sure. I'll give it that. But
that happened to have X-Men in it.
But I think... it just... If you're following Days of Futures Past, it was definitely not follow-worthy. But speaking of X-Men and nostalgia, viewers, let me share just one thing if I had some kind of final send-off to today's episode. So, we encounter a young man. And, I don't know what the general consensus for everybody is.
Let me give a small little background here. Without telling you where the TeeVo and the Beard HQ is, we work at a university system. Yes. So we are around a lot of people who are definitely younger than me and even younger than TeeVo, who are themselves immersed in pop culture. Comics, movies, music, all that stuff. So just wanted to let you know.
Oh, the times.
Just let you know, if we ever bring up, people that we run across, chances are they're young people who are watching all the modern stuff.
Yes.
So.
And with that, I like to point out that, I feel everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
That's true. Whether it's right or wrong.
You can like whatever you want. You just sometimes I just need a good reason.
Right.
If we're gonna like different things, I need to know why you like this one. And 9 times out of 10, I'll chalk it up and say, all right, well, That's what you think.
I don't agree with you, but I will defend to my death your right to say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, this is not one of those cases.
No, this is not. So, on this particular day.
On this particular... So, I don't know how the conversation stirred to X-Men. The Beard made a comment about the Flash, and I think he said he liked Marvel more growing up. And I thought...
Which is okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I had high hopes because he said that he liked Marvel before the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm thinking in my head, I was like, okay, kid's kind of,
he's all right.
He's all right.
Yeah.
And then I put my piece of the Marvel Cinematic Universe helped me like Marvel even more because growing up, I love DC. I mean, for those of you who don't remember, in the 90s, DC Comics ruled.
Right.
Everywhere was DC Comics. So, growing up in the 90s, it was really hard to not pay attention to DC Comics.
And if somehow you're not familiar with DC and Marvel, DC is what brought us Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Marvel being the Avengers, X-Men.
Marvel being everybody else.
Yes. But, I mean, unless it was Spider-Man or X-Men, DC ruled.
Right.
But, I said that, and then I can't remember. I think, bringing up the X-Men, spurred that. And, I think he asked if I saw the latest movie, and I said it did, and I said, it wasn't my favorite, had fun moments, and I can't remember. Do you remember?
Somehow it got to Wolverine.
Somehow,
No, I know exactly how it got
right.
there. I asked you how it compared to First Class, and you said it does not compare.
All right.
And I said, well, First Class was an excellent movie, and it had the best line of any X-Men movie that Wolverine gave.
Yes.
And that's what transitioned to the
That's
Wolverine.
right. And then he said that he did not like the Wolverine.
Right.
Which, again, I'm hearing, it's like, okay, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. It's not everybody. It's the one set in Japan. It's different from the other X-Men
For
movie.
me personally, that's why I loved it so much, because it was so different. But, if you didn't like it, that's fine.
Yeah, because you might like the other X-Men movie and like that style.
Yeah. But then here's the clincher. because he said he didn't like the Wolverine. Naturally, in my head, I'm thinking, well, at least, even if he didn't like it, it's still better than Wolverine Origins.
And you could have heard a pin drop on the carpet.
And this young man said, well, Wolverine Origins is a better movie.
Yeah. He didn't say, I think.
Which I don't know if it would have made it better. But again, it goes well, if you believe that, in your own opinion, you can defend why. Sure. But just to flat out say, Origins is a better movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
We cannot abide that.
And I think we spent the next 2 days trying to figure out, okay, well, he's young, obviously.
Yeah.
So did Origins...
We tried to defend him.
Did Origins come out at a very nostalgic time for him?
Yeah.
Speaking of, our topic today,
right.
Was it the first X-Men movie you saw in theaters? Period.
Was it the first movie you've seen?
But then again...
Because it's not, even as a film, even if you take the mutantness out of it, it's just not a good film.
And I'm thinking, have you seen it lately? Because, when I first saw Batman and Robin, I loved it. Then I saw it subsequently a few times after that. I don't love it.
Right.
But that first time in theaters, why not? Loved it. So I'm thinking, is that the same? Did you see it in theaters and thought that was cool? And he, jumped over the helicopter and, the last fight. Have you seen it since?
Were you familiar with any of the other characters before saying
That's true. I gotta know.
Because if you had no clue who Gambit and Deadpool and the Blob and all that were, then maybe you thought that they were being represented well. Or even Sabretooth, yeah.
If you're listening, we actually would like a detailed explanation. Yeah. I just want to know why.
Yes, please come defend we will let you be a special guest on the show to defend yourself without us arguing back.
Yeah.
About why you.
Again, you're entitled to anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I know so many people that love to dump on the Thor movies. I personally love them.
Yeah.
And that's okay if you don't like them.
It doesn't make them better than Civil War by any means, but they're still good movies in their own right.
Yeah. I like them. I'll watch them. And I think, Mr. Chris Hemsworth would appreciate that. But I just need to know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like saying, oh, I hate Batman versus Superman, but by God, that Batman and Robin.
Right, yeah, that was where they should have stopped right there, is Batman and Robin.
You know, if someone said that to me, I immediately just need to go.
I'm just gonna walk away, just
because... And then I will turn back and go like, okay, can I get a few sentences on that? Why?
But we were just in shock that he said that we couldn't even articulate a question.
I think all conversation just ceased.
It like the entire place just got quiet. It's like, I can't believe he said that.
We then assisted him with his help, and then he went on his merry way.
Yep.
And then afterwards, you know, we looked at each other and go, Origins is a better movie, huh?
Because I think it was one of the things where, like, if somebody says something very shocking to you, your brain tries to reword it.
When it doesn't happen, when you're imagining it would happen, yeah, you got comebacks galore.
Right, yeah.
But when it happens, when you hear something stupid sometimes.
Yeah.
And not just that guy. Any scenario where you hear something stupid and you just get dumbfounded. At least for me.
Yeah. We're not picking on him as a person. We're just
I've thought of many scenarios someone said, oh man, if someone says this to me, I know exactly what I'm going to say.
Right.
And then sometimes it happens and I just,
If somebody says Civil War is a horrible movie, this is the list of 15 reasons I'm going to give them why it was not a horrible movie. And then if somebody says it to you, you're like, oh, I guess that's your opinion. It's fine. But...
That would be number 16.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's one of the things that just hit us, and you know, we try to give people the benefit of the doubt when they have
like
opinions.
Because, well, in the day of the internet, you know, so many people are so narrow-minded.
Yeah, there's enough internet trolls out there. We don't need real life.
We have trolls. Actually, we do have real life trolls in our lives.
Yeah, and he could have been one. I'm still going. He's still one of my theories.
He's trolling us, but but nonetheless, I hear so many different narrow-minded opinions a lot that I think make it a big effort to try to see it from many angles and understand that people have different opinions.
Yeah.
Now, saying that, I understand that, but sometimes I still think you're going to be wrong, but...
Yeah, he was still wrong. Even if he would have said, I think or I believe, he still would have been incorrect.
But by God, he has the right to express his opinion.
Exactly.
But I just want to know why.
Yeah. We live in a fair and democratic geekdom, so there's already too much bullying amongst fandoms out there, and within fandoms, we don't want to spread that. So we're definitely not saying anything against him personally.
No.
Just this one particular
I just need to know.
Occasion, he was very wrong.
That's another thing. I was speaking of that. I would love to see some fandom bullying between Power Rangers and Star Trek.
Not that we condone bullying, but if you found that specific,
if there's a message board right now, I want to read it.
We're looking at you.
I want to read it.
Yeah, you can find us at facebook.com/TeeVo. That's TeeVo. ANDTHEBEARD. I'm just not sure I could do that.
If you couldn't spell and the Beard, well, okay, sure.
I was just challenging myself to see if I could do it all without reading it.
But yeah, that will be my deep icebreaker today. Nostalgia.
Yeah, then
I don't know if they learned anything today, but
people might go out and they check out different things. They might check out Fuller House on Netflix. They might check out Alf on its many sources where you can find it.
Or they might check out their own sense of nostalgia.
They might, yeah.
I mean, there are many things. There's so many things now that you can have a certain feeling to. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they'll watch X-Men Origins and help us try to defend that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, if you watch but here's the stipulation there. If you watch Origins, you also have to then watch the Wolverine. Even if you've seen both of them before, if you're going to rewatch one, you got to rewatch the other in order to defend Origins.
Or chime in with your opinion of why. Why? Or, I can see why.
Yeah. Because the only thing I could think of is that he got the titles wrong. That he thought he was referring to Origins when he was referring to the Wolverine and vice versa. I don't think that's right. But,
you'll give him that.
To give him the ultimate benefit of the doubt.
You'll give him that until you find out elsewhere.
Yeah. But you can leave a message on Facebook. You can leave a comment at the bottom of this on YouTube and let us know what you think. Let us know what you feel nostalgic about. And,
we'll be back with another episode. Don't know what we'll talk about, but
if you have any suggestions, throw them at us. See what sticks.
Yeah.
Because we're still waiting for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Supergirl, and The Flash to start again.
Pretty much just shows in general.
Shows in general, yeah. Things you will not hear about on this show, though, are Arrow and Gotham.
Yes.
Unless we're dumping on them for like a minute before.
Just a minute.
Yeah, just a minute. We're not going to harp on those. Neither one of us are fans. I've given Gotham multiple chances.
I gave it 2 episodes.
Seasons. Yeah.
Same episodes I gave Arrow.
Sadly, I gave Gotham more chances than that. Arrow, I gave 1 chance with 1 episode.
I gave 2.
I fell asleep during the first episode of Arrow.
Whoa!
Yeah.
But that's a whole different reason. But if you want an episode to explain why we don't like it, sure.
Yeah, let us know. And I might give Legends of Tomorrow another chance with the new season. I mean, it's all going to be on the CW except for Gotham, so it'll all be convenient right there and on Hulu. So,
isn't it the times?
I know, right? What did we do before we could watch TV whenever we wanted?
We had to actually go home.
I know, right?
Watch TV.
Oh, we didn't have real jobs.
That's true.
Yeah.
It helps when, you get out of school and all the TV shows start after school.
That's just a sidetrack back on nostalgia with Star Trek there. I watched The Next Generation after school when I was in high school, thinking I was watching it new. I didn't realize that it was like a primetime show because it came on like at 4 o'clock in the evening. I was like, all right, I'm watching a new episode. Because to me, it was a new episode.
How you were not spoiled by certain people?
No, well, when you're in high school, it's people have the same bedtime.
I can just imagine like you were talking to someone who'd seen said episode. You're just like, how do you know these things?
Yeah, right?
Like, yeah, it was on like 4 years ago.
The Borg? What? Who are these people?
What is this? How do you know?
Yeah.
Are you reading a novel? No, it's fun.
Just watched it like yesterday.
How did you get a special copy?
Are you the Doctor? That the Doctor Who would be a completely different episode.
And that would be, you would lead that one. And I would ask a lot of questions.
So, all right, well, join us next week and find out what we'll be talking about. Yeah. And subscribe to us on YouTube so you can get the new episodes when they come, and like us on Facebook.
And hopefully we'll have a cool new logo someday.
Hopefully, yeah. And if not, we'll have T-shirts.
Yes.
So we're working on T-shirts right now.
Yes, with logos. Not
logos.
just a T-shirt with our name. Because that'd be a ripoff.
With cartoon versions of our faces. Because you don't want to see our faces.
No. So. But he will have a beard.
Of course, yeah. That way you can tell us apart on the TV. Because people don't know this, but we're actually identical. Yeah, except, he's Asian and much younger, and I'm white and much older. I think that's a good place to end.
Yep.
All right, until next week. Bye-bye.